Hello, everyone, and welcome to Access Astrology. We are three astrologers, most of the time, who are here to talk to you about the astrology of this moment and to brainstorm on what's going on in current affairs and how to navigate this next week personally and politically and spiritually, because we are amazed at how astrology unfolds in our personal lives, in the headlines, and in a bigger metaphysical search. And then we go into the charts of people who have sent their birth information in and try to answer one question. We get about 5 minutes per chart. We do that the second half of our talk. This is Heather Rowan Robbins. I'm speaking to you from Western Montana, and I'm joined by
Mark Waltz, normally New York City, but I'm a little drive north of the city now in New Paltz.
that's beautiful. And
Beginning
then,
to get even more snow.
oh, wonderful. I bet you have quite a bit of snow up there.
Yes,
Um,
it's piled up high.
and then we have our perfectly timed, when it was just time to introduce herself. It is Ann Ortley coming in from Florida.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Ann Orley from Florida. My cleaning lady cleaned the microphone in the thing. So today it went, eh. And I'm like, where's my light? I was sitting in the dark, so managed to get it moving. And now I will adjust it so I have a little more light on the matter here.
You get input from three corners of the country.
Yes, all over the world.
It has been an interesting time, and I wanted to talk about the chart that started at the beginning of the month when the crap really started hitting the fan, and now we may be just moving past it. Tonight, as the moon goes into Cancer, and interesting that the talk tonight is about Jasmine Crockett going to the internment camp to look for the little 5-year-old kid that was stolen from family in Minnesota and brought down to a Texas internment camp and is not doing well, funnily enough. The moon goes into Cancer, conjuncts Jupiter, and our fierce mother protection anger comes out no matter what gender we are. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But Mercury, Venus, Sun, Vesta, Mars are all now in Aquarius. And a month ago, they were all in Capricorn and have that intense Capricornian energy. And as one by one they tapped over Pluto, one event over the other has been rocking our world. And Bruce Springsteen's new song about Minneapolis came out just as Mars went to conjunct Pluto. It is number one in 14 countries around the globe. And that was written on Saturday, produced on Sunday, released on Tuesday, and is now number one in 14 countries. A protest
Go
song.
Bruce.
Go Bruce. Now, a month ago, or not even a few weeks ago, when all these planets were in Capricorn, Mercury, Sun, Mars, Venus, and these three were conjunct at Capricorn, directly opposite Jupiter. And it was within hours of each other that Renee Good was killed in Minnesota, and the shooting of the Iranian protesters, which turns out to have been, they're thinking somewhere between 6,000 and 30,000. They don't know how many people were shot that day, but they said there were, big trucks collecting corpses in the streets. So it's going to take a while for that. But most of us used our willpower in a very different way. It was a very willful time. It's been a willful month. And running against the willpower, you can see it going from Capricorn, control structures, but organizing people, into Aquarian. Who got organized was the groups and the communities, and they have been all over the country raising that energy. So it's been very interesting to see that pattern with all of our support and our love, and going through this to the people that are on the front lines. So what do you see? I'm looking at this, and Uranus is about to turn direct, so I don't think it's going to calm down anytime soon. No. But we may begin to see a light in the clouds as these planets get farther away from Pluto. What are you seeing this week, Anne?
Well, I'm kind of focusing on the upcoming full moon that we're going to have, which is at 13 Aquarius Leo, right in the
Mhm.
middle of all this. So,
Mhm.
illumination, we go back to August of 24 and what was going on then before the election. And now we're at the full moon, kind of seeing, what was it? What were we looking at? What are we aiming at? What are we trying to understand the story of? I also noticed a lot of planets on the world point. So Venus and Mercury are both on 15 Aquarius, so communication super important. And Neptune has now gone into Aries on a world point, and Chiron, which is a planet of healing and also wounding, is on a world point. So I'm kind of like they're all talking to each other. They're having this little conversation of semi-sextile, and then from and then semi-sextile and then semi-square. So there's a nice stressful energy. And then we also have the moon out of bounds, which always makes everything a little bit over the top. And Uranus is on the fixed star Algol, the star of beheading. So we've seen some leadership change in terms of who's running the
Yeah,
situation.
Christine Wilmot.
We also see some people, stepping up and, announcing, they're stepping down or they're changing positions on things. So it's a very interesting with Uranus on Algol, which was, of course, a fixed star of beheading because Athena got mad and, did her lightning bolt thing. It's also a reminder for all of us to keep the heads cool and clean and pay attention.
And connected to our bodies.
Connected to our bodies. And also with, hi, Remo, you're going to come up? He's very chatty these days. Neptune and Aries on a world point. That would to me be the Bruce Springsteen song. I hadn't heard that. I'd heard he did one, but I haven't paid, I've been working and I had a friend visiting. So I've been unavailable on multiple levels. And not in a bad way, but just kind of like, running around doing things. Also, we're really watching how these Aquarian planets of Mars Pluto conjunction, is a war aspect. And that week before it hit was all about, oh my goodness, just people out of control, screaming and yelling. And now it's dissipating, which is good, but it's brought up a lot of conversation. That Venus, the Venus and the Mercury, I remember when they used to say the silent majority. I think it's waking up a lot of the people. The conversations are waking up people and making them say, hey, what's happening here? So, and also a bit of a reversal in the administration's stance on this. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I just looked at that week and went, I don't even want to live through it. But we also have the eclipses coming up. We're in eclipse season. And when eclipses are coming, they're at 28 Aquarius, which is the United States moon in the Sibley chart. They're also on the descendant of both J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. So that's a big deal, So
we are far from over. We are over a particular, Neptune just went into Aries where it was, it was the first week of the American Civil War, and Saturn's about to join that in next month. And we've got so much cooking, but I'm also I'm quite excited about the gift of the power of Pluto in Aquarius. We really saw the power of the people, the power of large scale, consistent, well organized, what they're calling in an editorial in Minnesota, the movement of neighborliness, neighborism, that, really feeling we are all neighbors. I hear Lady Gaga just released a heartfelt version of Mr. Rogers' "Will You Be My Neighbor" song in response to this. That that feeling, we are all siblings here in this country, and that I think is going to be, it wouldn't have happened if there wasn't pressure here.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that begins to take the day instead of Trump deciding to do what they did in Iran and shoot everybody. I'm hoping that this continues to move forward, but we know that it won't move forward in an easy way. It's going to continue this work and this process.
Do you have a cold?
Mark, what do you see?
It is good that it's an Aquarian energy, though. that'll really push it forward in a meaningful way for a long time because groups are strong. It reminds me of that demonstration where you hold a matchstick and you break it with just your hands. But then you take a dozen matchsticks, put them all together, and you can't snap them. It has to be one by one.
Right.
And
That's
that
beautiful.
really works for all these
What a
planets in
great
Aquarius.
description of a good use of the planets in
Yeah.
Aquarius.
Yeah, and that Mercury Venus conjunction is really key to the
Yeah.
musical expression.
Mm. Yeah, today we had that Mercury Venus conjunction, and it is so beautiful. The musical expression, music has been one of the guiding lights in the Minnesota demonstrations. The chants they've come up with have been beautiful and healing, and really growing positive energy instead of negativity. And it's a hard confront that they're doing
And
now.
they're doing this in below zero temperatures.
Yeah,
Very-
minus 12 one day. Yep.
Like
Um,
better people than me. I'm like, oh yeah. That's like, I mean, Rochester used to get to like 30, 20, 10 minus. That's a lot. That's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
The
also your point last week about, Napoleon and Hitler invading Russia during winter wasn't work because the people that
they
know
didn't know how to do it,
the winter people don't know how to do it. Yeah. Hmm.
right? Whereas Minnesotans know how to gear up.
Hmm.
There's a beautiful story, and it's such a Minnesotan story, and it's about that Mercury Venus that came out yesterday, I think it was, where two nice middle-aged women, one's like a nursery school teacher, and one was a nurse. They were arrested, stopped by ICE, taken, brought down to the Whipple building. But while they were driving in the back seat, they noticed that the guy in front said, one of them, "I'm not feeling so good," and he went into having a seizure. And the two women said, "You've got to stop the car. We have to help him. He's having a seizure." And they stopped the car, and the two protesters in the back seat got him out on the ground, protected his tongue, helped him keep from swallowing his tongue, and took care of him because he said he's a boy. They're just young men. They don't know better. If they're people, and of course we help them. And so it was really, that spirit is very much what I think is, making this a positive Aquarian experience.
Hmm. Hmm.
But we'll see. This is when Uranus goes direct next week, which,
Hmm.
I think it's been retrograde since September, and it's going to swirl those energy in places. And I think it's the last of the planets that retrograde. I mean, then Saturn's going to turn direct, and all those planets that move forward and then hopped back are now going to start moving, and we'll see where they take us. And it's Neptune, Uranus is getting ready to go into Gemini, but it won't be. It'll be a few more months, but it's going to turn around. And I'm hoping that I expect some turbulence as it turns around. There often is strange electrical patterns, but that it might feel that some of the momentum for positive change picks up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that Mars Pluto conjunction, has given people a lot of willpower. Like this week, where do we want to put our willpower? I think it also may have contributed to all the accidents of the people. I mean, there's so many people got hurt in this last snowstorm.
Hmm.
How did you two make it through that snowstorm?
I'm in
You didn't
Florida.
have any problems.
Yeah, it didn't bother
I mean,
me.
it was 40,
Uh-huh.
and it was 45 one morning, but I turned the heat on. I hadn't had the heat on in a while. It was mainly, air conditioning. Um,
I stayed off the roads.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
kind of, it was good. A little couple people tipped over. It was a bit of
Yeah.
tipping over, because of the Aquarius is a little accident prone. Yeah.
Right.
Mark, what'd you do?
Stayed off the road,
Right.
and it worked.
Mark is a very aware astrologer, just saying. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very smart. Yeah, the one of them, somebody said, number one, don't drive because you think you got this. You don't got this. Like the storms that, the trucks that were flipped, the houses that were crushed by falling, things. The kids that went on ice that fell through, just some really tough things.
Mhm.
We have a question. We have two questions that Anne. One was, what caused the beeping at your place a couple of weeks ago?
What happened was between 5:45 when I went down to the party and 7:30 when I came back up for this podcast, my microwave decided to die. And so it had a, because I checked the refrigerator. I mean, everything in the house friggin' beeps. The coffee pot beeps, the microwave beeps, the stove beeps, the oven, the whole thing beeps. But the microwave board fried, and it said, it appears your microwave board has shorted out, service needed. So it was a 3 beep, right? Now in New York, I have a microwave and I plug it in the wall. This thing's over the stove. I don't know how to unplug it. I'm looking at the bottom of it, kind of looking around. So I go and I look at the switch, the power thing, and it's stove, fridge, microwave. And I thought, well, I'm not switching anything off because then the refrigerator's gone, right?
Right.
And so I left it on beeping all night. And in the morning, I called the super, or the maintenance guy. New York is the supers. And he came up and he opened the cupboard over the top of the microwave. And there's a plug up there. Who knew? And he pulls the plug out and he goes, well, you screw the microwave into the cupboard and you unplug it there. And I'm like, okay. So my microwave, so if you look at my chart between 5:45 and 7:30, you'll see I have a whole pile of quincunxes with Uranus. So my microwave fried itself while I was at that party, which was a fun party. But I was just missing that hour and an hour and a half.
That's really funny. That's really funny. The other question is, what is a draconic chart? And I have done them, but I haven't done them lately, and I know you use them.
I use them a lot.
Someone wanted to ask about a draconic chart.
Okay, so what a draconic chart is, Heather and I, Mark, use the tropical zodiac. There's different zodiacs, sidereal, heliocentric, how you're approaching the heavens. So what the draconic chart is it sets the north node at 0 Aries. And it says, and then it adjusts all your planets, like if you're a Capricorn north node, it'll adjust all your planets, adjust your north node to 0, and whatever that increment is, it moves all the planets. So they stay in the same positions aspect-wise, but they change signs and they change houses. So the chart will look identical when you pull it up, but if you put them together as a synastry, they look different. So the idea is everybody has a soul. And the north node of 0 Aries is your soul's evolution point over time. So we had the north node hit 0 Aries January 9th, 10th last year. It does it one day every 19 years. But we all have nodes in different signs. So you look at your north node in 0 Aries, you do the draconic, moves all your planets, and then you look at your chart compared to that, and it'll show you your soul's path and then why you're using these planets in this incarnation. It tells you how to work with your chart, especially when you're stuck. The reason there's a lot of draconic around right now is Saturn and Neptune are meeting at 0 Aries on the world point, and they're starting a new 38-year cycle. So every chart in the world, every human in the world, every country in the world, every document, like the Declaration has a document, the Magna Carta has a document, everything is getting a reset with Saturn and Neptune meeting in Aries, and initiating on the draconic north node of 0 Aries on everybody's north node. So all of our souls are getting reset. And of course, 0 Aries is a huge degree. The last time the planets met at that was 9,000 years ago. I mean, they've met in Aries before, but at 0 Aries was 9,000 years ago, kind of the beginning of the patriarchy, moving from the fertility goddesses to the Bronze Age. And it's a big friggin' deal.
That's a big friggin' deal.
It's why the whole world is watching what everybody's having. Iran's having revolution. So you look at like the United States, while the natal chart, it has a moon in Pisces, right? And so we take our hungry, poor, yearning to be free, right? So it's a very interesting chart because it gives us a whole different perspective on who we are and your soul. And so you also, I had one student, he looked at his draconic, I'm sorry, the cat's in the way here. He looked at his draconic and he's like, oh, now I see why I'm an astrologer, because in the draconic chart it showed the astrology path, which he didn't see in his natal. And he was an architect and an engineer, and that was this lifetime. But natally, his chart really resonated with astrology. So it's a very helpful. So all of you look at your draconic. It's a zodiac choice under tropical. In there is
Yep.
where it is.
You can put it under zodiac in you're
Yep.
using solar fire or one of those.
Any one of those, and it'll pull up a separate chart, and then you look at it standalone, because now all your planets have changed, and all. I mean, they're all in the same reaction to each other. They're all the same aspect pattern, and then you put the two together, and you look at wherever 0 Aries is in your chart. Those of you who follow my pinball thing, I always start with 0 Aries, right? But 0 Aries is the Aries point when the sun goes above the equator, and we astrologers go, New Year starting, right? When it goes over that equator. So the energy is initiatory, but it's also, we're all getting a new soul assignment. And Carolyn Casey, who we all love, she has a Saturn Neptune conjunction in her chart in Libra, because that happened in the 52-53 models. And she always says the Neptune is the vision that the reality train of Saturn runs on. So we're all being asked to have a new vision for our reality. Secondly, we're all watching our old reality, Saturn and Pisces, dissolving, because Neptune and Saturn are dissolving it. So a lot of my Libra people are having their teeth break. Their teeth are falling out of their face because Saturn, Neptune, like my teeth are dissolving, and they're getting.
I've got a couple of kidney stones in my client.
A couple of kidney stones, yeah, because Saturn is stones, Neptune is just
liquids.
Liquids, yeah. So it's but for all of us, doesn't mean you're going to get a kidney stone. But look at your North Node in 0 Aries and see what it says, and then look at where 0 Aries is in your chart, because that's where the North Node's going to be, and that's where Saturn, Neptune is starting a new 38-year cycle conjunction for you. So it's a big deal. We had the conjunction in 88-89 when the Berlin Wall fell and Europe reunited and EU broke up. EU reunited, USSR broke up. Tiananmen Square happened. In 52-53, we had the Cold War. In 1914, we had a 0 Cancer, and that was World War I and II. So this is a biggie, because this is Aries.
It is.
Aries, which is a little warrior-like. So hopefully we don't go to war, and we have a vision of how we want to structure reality so that it works for people in a better way.
So we've only got a little bit of time left.
Yeah, we all have a new assignment. So go get your new assignment. Yeah.
We're going to have to just do 2 charts tonight, and then we'll have a few for next week. We're getting to the bottom of our list so people can send their birth information to me. We've got enough for next week, but not the weeks after that. This is Teresa, and Teresa she said she loves our chart, our thing. She's just finishing her second Saturn return and looking forward to Neptune being off her natal Saturn. Life has been challenging. Any relief, or should I stay buckled up for a bumpy ride? And we have this chart here, and we have her. I'm going to go straight to this because she asked about the future. Her tri-wheel here. Her progressed moon in Taurus is coming up to Uranus over the next, I think there's some changes coming up, but it doesn't necessarily mean a bumpy ride. I think she might be getting a lot more energy back once Saturn and Neptune get off her natal Saturn and progressed Saturn. I think by spring, she'll have more oomph with her than she's had in a long time. She's had Pluto square her sun, and then those 2 planets dancing on her internal things. She's got that interior fight between the Aries side that wants to boldly go where she has not gone before, and that very sensitive Pisces that feels everything and needs to slow down and take care of herself. So I think I would say, I wouldn't say buckle up, but grounding this year, grounding and getting comfortable and building strength looks like an important part of this. What are you seeing, Anne?
Well, the Uranus on that North Node that's where she's saying, is it going to be a roller coaster or not? So energetically, she's pretty psychic, and she feels that Mercury in Pisces is going, should I look at kind of like the scary music playing in the movie, and she covers her eyes. So the idea is once Uranus goes direct on your North Node, that'll give you a bit of clarity in terms of direction. And then he's going to go into Gemini, which should be fun. But I do think we like 2 degrees off of Saturn for him to feel like the weight lifts. And so Saturn has to get to 2, which he does in the middle of March. So I would be like, yeah, you'll feel better mid-March. And I do think when Uranus goes into Gemini, because he's part of your configuration with the Neptune and the Uranus and the Pluto all talk to each other, and the Saturn too, they're all talking to each other nicely this next few years. So you'll be ready to take that energy that you were incarnated in 66 and bring it out into the world in a flow, because they're going to be in trine. Mark, what do you see?
Yeah, you will feel an easing up as Saturn finishes the return. It's always there, and you want to, whatever realization you have about your Saturn return, make sure you act on it, because if you let Saturn just sort of fumble around, it's not going to bring you what you need. So there are a lot of clues that you picked up during the Saturn return that should help you put together the next phase of your life. And let that start from an action.
Yeah.
And that's any other, and I would say with this, if you can, you are an empath, that you pick up so much with Moon and Pisces right on the ascendant. Even if your life calms down, the fact that the world is not going to be that calm this year, there's so much shifting and changing, that it's good. I would ask you just to take care of yourself and know what's your problem and what's other people's problem. It's not that you don't care, it's that if you take care of yourself, you can help them more.
Right.
So,
lots of sleep and lots of baths. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Remo just got on the keyboard here. He's up for a cuddle. That's all I can say. He's like up for a cuddle. Okay. Yeah. What's going on? Your little Gemini Mars? He's got a Gemini Mars, so he's like been very chatty all day. So.
He's been very catty, very chatty.
Very chatty kitty.
My Gemini dog used to get a squeaker toy and run around. So the Meryl would like to know about the upcoming Saturn conjunct descendant transit. Is that where the energy, where the conjunction happens? How much should I consider the squares in opposition to the angles, angular planets, and nodes? I love a good juicy question. But if we come back to her, she has, they'll be not quite angular, but they'll be getting there. We go to her tri-wheel. They're going to be her progressed moon. It is what is talking to those right now, and then it moves on.
Yeah.
But when those come up, Saturn won't get up to 9 degrees for a while. Neptune won't get up there for a little while longer. So you got a little breathing space on that.
Yeah. Saturn goes up to 15 this year and then back to 7. So he's going to come back to your Venus, and you're going to go over your descendant 3 times. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have pass 1, 2, 3, which I always think of as, childbirth. When you go into early labor, pass 1, he goes, oh, and then he goes, not ready yet. And then he goes retrograde, and you go, oh, they send you home. And then he goes, okay, ready. And he does it again. So plan on working on this energy for a little bit, because he's going to clip your Venus, your progressed Venus there. Venus is the ruler of you, and opposite your part of fortune. I would be conservative about, your money and your spending, because Saturn through the 6th house often does things to your servants, which is your dishwasher, your washer dryer, your my microwave in my case. I'm having Jupiter through it. So it was a very pleasant little beep, beep, beep. But the Jupiter going through my 6th house, my appliance went heavenward. It took off, did a Jupiter transit, took off on me. So while I was at a party. So you are going to have Saturn on your progressed Venus, which is the ruler of your chart, your Libra rising, and it also is on your money house. So you want to really be, kind of checking your money and paying attention to it, especially because your progressed ascendant is about to change into Sag, which is answering to your Jupiter, and your Jupiter is in Aries, so you're going to have Saturn on your Jupiter 3 times this year too. So I would really
And
kind of focus on your
th-
fiscal
t-
responsibility on this one.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and grounding that. And I would add that your progressed Sun conjuncts Mars exactly in November. So between now and then, your progressed Sun has just left Saturn. It's going to Mars. It's right between the two of them. There's a lot of that. That's the fiscal responsibility. The Saturn, like the world's telling you to grow up, no matter how old you are. You could be 90 and it would be still telling you to grow up when you have a Saturn conjunction like that. But the conjunction Mars says, and now what do you want to get started? Your progressed moon just gone into Aries. You're ready to initiate a lot. And we want you to do that new beginnings. We want you to get started, but to do it with the grounding that Anne was talking about. Mark, do you have any
Yeah,
suggestions?
take a deep pause and reflect on what you really want and what you're willing to do some work to attain. And that'll line up your Mars and Sun, and they'll work together well.
Yeah.
I just want to read a few
And
comments from our.
if you have kids, Meryl, there can be unexpected expenses from your children. So that you kind of want to pay attention to that, or family
Kids are
members.
always good for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, children are always good to show up with. I have a. And you're like,
The
okay,
new,
I had it spent over here, but now it's going to come over here. Yeah.
yeah. So we got some nice comments from people, lots of wonderful hellos. Someone was current. Two people said, one said, I have a Libra rising and had a tooth fall out a while back. Another one going to Mexico to get her teeth done. So all those Saturn, how we can change and transform that,
Saturn
uh,
has teeth,
are,
and
are
because it's
part of
Libra,
that.
it's facial teeth. It's not necessarily body teeth. It could also be lumbar region. I have a couple people with having back surgeries or back fusions down there by
Hips.
the kidneys in the L's, the lumbar 1, 2, 3, 4. So. Yeah.
And we'll talk more about other things, but when we get going, we're going to be watching that aspect, the Saturn Neptune conjunction all spring. So I'm getting ready to say goodbye. But Mark, do you have anything you want to say or lead us out with a meditation for this stationary Uranus this week?
Uh, yeah, take a moment, close your eyes so that you can look inward and think about where Uranus is in your chart. Realize that the energy in the sky of Uranus is stopping and very slowly turning around to go forward again. You can picture that like a big boat in the ocean coming to a pause and changing its direction. See where your natal Uranus is, and then also see where the transiting and stationary Uranus is, what house it's in, and how it aspects your other planets. And see how you feel about that big Uranus ship stopping and turning around. Okay, open your eyes and meet Uranus.
And meet Uranus.
Hello, Uranus.
And I want everybody to remember that the three of us can be reached for one-on-one personal readings anytime. To feel free to check out all of our emails, which are listed, and have a wonderful week. This is Heather Rowan Robbins saying goodbye from Ronan, Montana, and Ann.
Ann Ortley from Florida, where it's cold.
And Mark Wolfs from New York.
New York, though. Yeah, Mark, sorry.
Mark Wolfs from New York, where it's even colder.
Goodbye, stay safe, and hold the vision of a better world ahead.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you all
Bye.
next week. Bye.